This is Bayer, the leader of the Scarlet Sword Guild, a group made of rank D members. A new dungeon appeared, and they decided to take it on, bringing a weaker kid along just to carry their loot. The group started clearing the monsters, killing them one by one with zero difficulty. When all the monsters were dead, the kid started doing his job. That's when a scream, so loud, left everyone in shock. For the first time ever, a rank B Minotaur showed up inside a rank D dungeon, which made absolutely no sense. Scarlet Sword panicked because they knew they had no shot against it. That's when Bayer stabbed the bag boy, driving his sword right into his back. While he was on the ground bleeding, the guild used magic to lure the monster toward the kid and ran. The next day, the Scarlet Sword Guild gave their report to Guild Master Lonkars, saying the Minotaur appeared and unfortunately killed Rude. There was nothing they could do. But then the unexpected happened. When the door opened, everyone froze because somehow the kid was still alive. Scarlet Sword went pale. Bayer knew he was done and threatened to kill the kid if he said a word. The three of them tried to drag him out of the guild before he could tell the truth. When they tried to move him, they couldn't. He just didn't budge. The kid opened his mouth and told everything. That Scarlet Sword used him as bait to escape. A woman with a lie detection skill used her magic and confirmed the kid was telling the truth. Bayer lost it and charged at the woman with his sword. But out of nowhere, the kid blocked the attack and landed a punch so hard it sent the guild leader straight through the wall. The entire room stood in shock, unable to understand how this rank E kid got strong enough to drop a rank D and solo a dungeon by killing a rank B boss. This is Rude, and he was never this strong. He was the lowest ranked adventurer there was. He had zero combat skills. The only special ability he had was nullifying the effects of poison, paralysis, and miasma, which is completely useless for killing monsters. Because of that, he could never get into any real party. Rude spent his days in the miasma labyrinth, a place every adventurer hates because the air destroys the stats of anyone who enters. But since he was immune, he collected medicinal herbs inside to sell. Basically, the dungeon's garbage collector. At the dungeon quest house, he went to check if there was any new dungeon where he could collect loot and get rich. She finally told him there was one, but it was rank D only. Rude was instantly bummed out. That's when Bayer invited him to be their guild's bag boy. Not knowing what to expect, he accepted. So they went to the dungeon, killed the monsters, the Minotaur showed up, and the betrayal happened, where he was left to die. Even injured and at the lowest rank, Rude refused to die and fought to survive. But he was so drained that he couldn't dodge the boss's attack. The punch was so powerful it cracked the floor, and both of them fell from the dungeon's 4th floor. When he woke up, the Minotaur had landed beneath him and cushioned the fall, saving his life. But even so, he was completely wrecked, hemorrhaging. With no healing magic, it was only a matter of time before he died from hunger or his wounds. Hunger started taking over his mind. Even with the risk of dying or turning into a monster, he started devouring the Minotaur. And instead of dying or going insane, the Minotaur's mana fused with his body. Rude stood up with a strength that didn't exist before, his eyes carrying something darker. When a horde of monsters appeared, he used the Minotaur's roar to intimidate them. He also used the physical enhancement ability and massacred all the bats. When he ate the next monsters, he gained more skills, echolocation from the bats. And so his rise began, killing every monster, eating them, and getting stronger. Every monster he ate meant more power and more abilities. The scared little kid who trembled at the sight of a rat was gone. What walked out of that labyrinth was something else entirely, something far more powerful. After surviving, going to the guild master, telling the truth, and proving he got stronger, he was called into a private room where the master showed he understood everything Rude had been through. He also said the 3 of them were arrested. As compensation, Rude received 20,000 coins. With money in his pocket, he could eat whatever he wanted or even upgrade his gear. But Rude decided to buy a magic bag and head back to the miasma labyrinth to test his new powers. What was once hard was now way too easy. He checked his status and froze because he was now at level 42 with a massive pile of abilities. He went floor by floor, killing and eating more monsters to gain as many skills as possible. On the 24th floor, he was surrounded by a group of lizard soldiers who fought using war tactics, including a general at level 32 with a commanding ability. Rude read their strategy, activated his strength ability, and broke through their defense. He used them as a springboard to push forward and land a hit on the general. The general raged and tried to strike back, but Rude didn't even flinch thanks to his steel body skill. After killing one of the soldiers, the rest revolted and tried to rush him. Using his web manipulation ability, he pulled away from the lizards and unleashed his power, trapping them all in an electrified web. Now that none of them could move, Rude knew the fight was over and cut off the boss's head. Time for some lizard meat. Decides to try the magic bag he bought with guild money. The bag has extra space inside, and once closed, the weight drops away. Rude pulls out his tools and some seasonings so he can cook the meat right this time. Back on the hidden floor, he ate just to survive. He's wanted a real cooked meal ever since. He slices up the meat and fries it in a pan. Before tasting it, he already imagines how good it must be cooked. Then he takes his first bite, and it's incredible. Properly cooked monster meat tastes amazing. Rude thinks he might get hooked because he never expected it to be this good. While eating, he notices he gained new skills. That makes him wonder again why monster meat tastes so good. Maybe it has something to do with their magic. The skills from the Minotaur, Armor Spider, and Evil Eye have all been useful. As for monsters whose skills he still hasn't tested, there's the Thunder Wolf and the Black Serpent. Feeling great after the meal, Rude decides he'll try eating more kinds of monsters on the way back. Then he remembers the lizard with the substitute skill. After that, he heads to the 21st floor and keeps hunting. As he fights, he shows off all kinds of skills, including lightning, cloak from the wolves. The last group he beat was made of monsters that focus on status effects. After that, he cooks up frog meat and insect dishes. He turns them into fried meat, and it's so good he starts wishing he had beer with it. After a few bites, he gains more skills. Venom, temperature variation, poison scale powder, paralysis scale powder, and aerial slash. While enjoying the soft frog meat, he hears a crash and then a human voice. He wonders if another adventure party really made it this deep. Rude quickly packs everything into his magic bag and heads to check. Meeting others down here is rare, and he hopes to trade information if he finds them. Somewhere else on the same floor, a group of adventurers has badly injured a woman. It looks like the fight against her wasn't easy. One of them says she used too much magic trying to defend herself. The party leader pulls back her hood, revealing that she's an elf. As they start thinking about how much an elf woman could sell for, they hear Rude behind them, saying he had hoped to meet some friendly faces. He steps out and says he doesn't know the full story, but he won't stand by while they attack a woman. The leader of the group asks Rudy who he is. The elf warns him to run because these men are adventure hunters. Rude remembers hearing about people like them. They're all high-ranked adventurers. He can read their levels, but not their status or skills. Their leader, Falsus, is level 65. That shocks Rude, and he wonders if they're using some concealment skill or anti-magic item. Falsus tells his men to kill Rude. They were waiting for that order, and the first to rush in is a crazed man with his tongue hanging out. He looks messy, but he's fast and has great stamina. The psycho praises Rude for holding his ground, and Rude mocks him by saying it's only because his enemy is weak. That sets him off. Furious, he shouts that he'll crush Rude's skull. But when he gets too close, Rude outplays him. He blocks the attack and instantly spits venom into his face with the venom skill. Zarius screams as his face starts melting. The others are stunned and decide Rude is basically a monster. Rude knows his style is reckless and nothing like a normal adventurer's, but it's how someone weak like him stayed alive in labyrinths. Falsus wonders if that poison is a unique skill. Now he's on guard and stops underestimating Rude. He orders his two remaining allies to attack with him, and all three charge at once. Rude barely avoids their attacks, knowing that if he slips even once, he's dead. Then Falsus proves too fast and kicks him hard in the face. Rude times Steel Body perfectly, so the hit doesn't break him. Still, the force sends him sliding into a swamp. Falsus is sure that Kick should have snapped Rudy's neck, so if he's still alive, then he's tougher than he looks. One of the men threatens to finish Rude off. Instead of fighting back, Rude runs deeper the other way. The man yells at him not to flee now. He tries to chase him, but Falsus stops him and explains that the swamp is poisonous. Anyone who goes too far and might not come back. He tells his ally to wait, sure that Rude won't survive in there either. Rude gets annoyed and wonders how long they'll stay by the swamp. Then he realizes he got lucky landing in a poisonous swamp on top of all this miasma. The poison fog around it drains stamina fast, and before long, the hunters are already exhausted after about 10 minutes. Rude waits for them to weaken, but he also knows that if this drags on, the injured elf will suffer even more. So he walks back toward Falsus and the others, asking how it feels to deal with both poison and miasma. Falsus and his allies say Rude has been a real pain, thinking he must be tired too. Rude says status effects don't work on him, so he has no idea how bad they feel. Falsus is stunned. He can't believe a nobody like Rude has abnormal status nullification. Angry, he orders another attack, and the fight starts again. But now they can't keep up with Rude, because the miasma build up inside them and lower their stats. Even their sneak attack fails when Rude uses Steel Body to harden himself and follows it with Lightning Cloak. The direct shock burns them badly. Though one adventurer still makes one last desperate move. Rude ends it with aerial slash. Falsus is stunned by how many attacks Rude can pull off. He asks why a human has monster skills. Rude tells him he doesn't owe him an answer. Then the final fight begins. Falsus against the miasma scavenger. Falsus knows he should have the edge in a normal fight against a human, but the miasma puts him at a huge disadvantage. At a key moment, he uses agility enhancement to move much faster. Rude answers with physical boost and shows that raw power can beat speed. That strength is enough. Level 65, Falsus falls to the miasma scavenger. Rude admits that without the poison and miasma, Falsus was way above him. The elf thanks Rude for saving her, and he says he couldn't just leave her there. She acts tough even though the miasma is still hurting her, and Rude starts wondering why an elf was in a place like this and what led adventure hunters to chase her. But the surprises keep coming when a giant moth suddenly attacks. It's a level 37 monster, nothing too special. Rude cuts it down, saying size alone won't beat him. He uses aerial slash, but the monster's sudden lunge throws him off and stops the clean finish. The crash sends debris toward the elf, but she narrowly avoids getting hurt. Rude uses aerial slash again, and this time it hits the giant moth hard. But the monster quickly recovers and spreads paralyzing scales at him. Sure, it won't work. Rude tells it paralysis means nothing to him and forgets Alicia is still there. She's an elf, but that doesn't mean she has special resistance. Still, she was ready. She uses wind magic to blow the scales away, leaving Rude stunned. Not long after, he kills the monster. Amazed, Alicia asks why paralysis has no effect on him. She also asks why he uses skills like a monster, and Rude has no idea how to answer. Then, Alicia suddenly drops to her knees. Worried, he asks if a scale hit her. She says no, it isn't paralysis, it's something else. She promises to explain once they get out safely. Later, they rest under a heavenly tree, and Alicia starts feeling much better. She introduces herself as Alicia, a former adventurer. Rude is shocked and asks if she's Alicia from Emerald Storm. Azure Tales was a famous S-rank party in the Kingdom of Lydia's, and she used to be part of it. He remembers hearing that Azure Tales was destroyed 5 years ago. Back then, they challenged the monster in the deepest part of the abyssal labyrinth, and the party was nearly wiped out. Their leader died. One member had to retire from terrible injuries, and another was swallowed by the labyrinth. Alicia says she didn't escape unharmed either, and tries to show Rude the curse on her body. He panics and asks what she thinks she's doing. Alicia shows him the curse carved into her chest. She explains that it keeps lowering her level. She tried everything to remove it, but could only slow it down. She doesn't even know exactly what the curse is. The adventurers from earlier knew about it and wanted to use it for themselves. As Alicia says she'll die once her level drops to 0, she starts getting emotional. After hearing her painful story, Rude realizes he may be able to help. He pulls out a skill substitute card and says he wants to try something. He asks if she's willing to accept the skill he's about to use, and Alicia agrees. Then, he begins pulling the curse out of her. Rude puts his right hand on her shoulder and activates skill substitute. Alicia is shocked when she sees the curse moving into him. She tries to stop him, but he tells her it's fine and asks her to trust him. A moment later, another skill of his, abnormal status nullification, activates on its own. The curse starts to fade away. Everything works perfectly, and her curse is gone. Rude is pleased the plan actually succeeded. Since Alicia has never seen a human use monster skills, she asks what just happened. Rude tells her to check her guild card. When she looks at her status, it's back to normal. He explains that his unique skill nullifies abnormal conditions, so he hoped it could erase her curse, too. She calls him an idiot for taking such a huge risk, but she's deeply thankful that he helped someone he barely knows. Later, Rudy and Alicia eat dinner at the Full Belly restaurant. She's loving the food and the alcohol and praises him for finding the place. Rude doesn't know what to say since he got kicked out before. Seeing how much she's drinking, he asks if that's really okay after being so badly hurt earlier. Alicia says she's fine, and on a day this good, of course she's going to drink. After a while, Rudy asks what she plans to do next. She says she has nowhere specific to go, then asks about him and why he became an adventurer. A long time ago, monsters attacked his village. He lost his family, his friends, and everyone he knew. He only survived because an S-rank adventurer came to help. Rude says he'll never forget that. That's why he wants to become an S-rank adventurer, too, so he can save as many people as possible. Alicia says it's a great dream, and one she once shared. Now, she wants to grow even stronger than before the curse, and she's sure her old companions are still trapped at the bottom of the abyssal labyrinth. No matter what awaits her, she wants to face that nightmare monster again. Alicia suggests they join forces until both of them are strong enough to reach their goals, and offers to form a party with him. Just as Rude is about to turn her down, a group of thugs grabs Alicia by the wrist. They mock Rude for drinking with such a pretty woman. They're the same jerks who called him trash and bullied him here before Scarlet Sword tricked him. They move in on Alicia and try to buy her a drink, but Rude tells them to let her go. That only makes them mad, and one thug grabs him by the collar. Before things get worse, Alicia steps in and stops them. She says if they're in a pub, they should settle this with a drinking contest. Even though she suggests Rude compete with him, she ends up joining in herself instead of him. By the end of the night, Alicia wins the contest, though she's completely wasted. Rude praises her, saying she did amazing since she'd already been drinking before the match started. She slurs that she hasn't sunk low enough to just sit back and do nothing. Her words are barely understandable, and then she passes out. Rude uses skills substitute to take her drunkenness onto himself, which sobers her up. Fascinated by how many strange skills he has, she insists again that they need to form a party, then starts drinking all over again. After getting tipsy, Alicia stares at the full belly special dish, the salt grilled Barnabas, knowing she probably can't have it. The manager explains that a monster has settled in the Barnabas fishing grounds. He reported it to the guild, but none of the stronger adventurers are free. So he asks if the two of them will take the job. Soon, they head to the Barnabas fishing grounds, where nature is untouched. Rude and Alicia are both excited to be there. Their good luck doesn't last long because the monsters attack right away. What first seemed lucky quickly turns ugly. They're surrounded by far too many of them. The creatures are called Jernub, level 23 monsters with stats that match their level. They attack by firing high-pressure water shots. There aren't just a few of them. The sheer number of water bullets is overwhelming. Rude can't dodge everything while staying on the boat, so he jumps off and dives into the water. He's trying to draw the Jernubs away from the boat, and once they spot an easier target, they all focus on eating him instead. When they close in, he activates Lightning Cloak and shocks them. The attack wipes out most of the Jernubs, but some stay deeper underwater and miss the first strike. Puzzled, Rude tells Alicia he's going deeper and says he'll need her help. Then he ties a rope around his waist and dives down. Soon, he reaches a swarm of Jernubs just drifting below. None attack, and he realizes they're acting like guards protecting someone or something. Even so, he keeps descending. Then, he spots a shape with many tentacles, but the water is too murky to see it clearly. Using appraisal, he identifies it as a level 38 monster called Tentacles with high HP and much lower agility. Rude then sees what the monster is doing. It is producing Jernubs through its tentacles, and the newborn monsters turn aggressive right away. That means killing Jernubs over and over is pointless unless he defeats Tentacles itself. Since it doesn't seem ready to attack, he decides to prepare first, but he was wrong. The creature suddenly attacks him. The Jernubs also keep pressuring him. They hadn't stopped attacking by accident. They were trying to distract him from the main threat. Rude uses Lightning Cloak to keep the Jernubs from devouring him. With the monster's arms wrapped around him, he triggers Lightning Cloak again to find its weak point, but the creature cuts off its own feelers before the shock can do serious damage. Rude remembers its autonomy skill and realizes it avoided a fatal hit by shedding them instantly. Then, the fight flips and the monster moves above him. As he starts running out of air, he signals Alicia to pull the rope. She raises her wand and uses magic to drive the rope harder, badly damaging the monster. Back on the bank, Rude lies down and tries to relax. When Alicia asks if he's okay, he says he is thanks to her help. After catching his breath, he tells her there's a boss underwater making Jernubs nonstop, and since it also has accelerated healing, they can't waste any time. Alicia says the monsters have a big edge underwater, and her magic is useless down there too. She asks if he has another idea. Rude says he does, but stops remembering his first time eating monsters in the miasmal labyrinth. Alicia trusted him with her curse and teamed up with him, so he feels he should tell her his secret, too. Before she says anything else, he asks Alicia to keep what she's about to see a secret. Then he dives back in, this time using high-speed swimming. With it, he cuts down several Jernubs in one smooth swing. After slipping past the rest, he locks onto the giant monster. It lashes out with its feelers, but Rude is far too fast to get caught, too. He spots its weak point and drives his sword straight into its face. Then, he adds Lightning Cloak. That finishes the giant monster, and blood pours from its body. With the boss gone, the fishing grounds should calm down again. But now, Rude worries about Alicia. She saw him eat a monster. He wonders what she'll think when he gets back. Rude comes out of the Barnabas River, hoping Alicia is still there. When he doesn't see her at first, he questions why he expected her to wait. But the moment he steps out, Alicia greets him. She says she couldn't just sit around doing nothing, so she gathered branches for a fire to dry their clothes, especially his. Seeing her act normal, he asks if she's okay after watching him do something so taboo. Alicia admits it shocked her a little, but he's happy he trusted her enough to show his secret. Rude thanks her for taking it so well. He remembers he also cut off part of the boss to steal its skill. Since it would be weird if only he ate, he also brought some Barnabas. Even if sharing food beside a monster corpse is strange, he offers it to her anyway, and Alicia gladly takes it. Rude says he'll tell her about the first time he ate a monster while they eat. After hearing the whole story, Alicia says it's still amazing that he can eat monsters at all. Rude says that awful event helped a weak guy like him get closer to his dream. Alicia adds that monster meat must taste pretty good when he cooks it like this. Rude is eating jernub fillets and miso braised tentacles. He agrees, saying he never wants to eat raw jernub again. He'd rather cook it right. He offers her some, but Alicia politely refuses since she might not survive the same symptoms. After she finishes eating, she properly asks him to join her party. Rude asks why she doesn't team up with stronger people since she used to be a famous adventurer. Alicia says it's been 5 years since she was cursed. Even if her old allies survived the labyrinth, many have probably retired by now. She also says most frontline adventurers are a little unhinged. Strong or not, she wouldn't trust them watching her back. She wants a partner she can trust completely, and she thinks Rude is that person. After hearing her out, he agrees. Soon, the two return to the Adventurers Guild. Alicia is clearly excited about taking their first job together. Rude, though, doubts an E rank like him will get any major requests. Alicia agrees, but she's already got a way around that. She heads to the receptionist to register their new party. To do that, she shows her adventurer card. The receptionist is stunned to see the girl in front of her is S rank, the famous Alicia of the Emerald Stone. An even bigger reaction than Rude had. Alicia is level 43 with huge magic and spirit stats, plus a pile of rare skills the receptionist has never even seen. Rude, on the other hand, is just miasma scavenger, a low-rank adventurer with nothing flashy. The receptionist can't understand why Alicia would party with him. Alicia says she wants to help rank Rude up and asks what's still missing. After checking his records, the receptionist says he has enough achievements, but not enough battle history. Since he's close to promotion, Alicia asks for the hardest subjugation request the two of them can take. The receptionist says there's one near Barona, so they accept it and head out. Their mission is to wipe out a pack of gray wolves. Gray wolves are level 11 monsters with strong scent detection. Rude uses stealth to deal with them, but once his location is exposed, the alpha calls for reinforcements. Since Rude is busy with the main pack, he leaves the new group to Alicia. She uses spirit magic and summons a sylph named Sylphide, an elemental known for speed and wind affinity. At Alicia's order, Sylphide casts great wind and slices through the reinforcements, killing every wolf in range. Rude watches Alicia and her sylph work together and realizes that attack is almost impossible to dodge. When Alicia says this still isn't the power she had before the curse, he can only imagine how scary she used to be. Just when he thinks the wolf pack is handled, another group jumps him. He's boxed in and can't block or dodge well. Sylphide saves him at the last second. Rude realizes Alicia and Sylphide can use wind magic to float and move faster. He thanks Alicia for the save, but she tells him to thank the spirit instead. She warns him not to relax yet because she's spotted about 5 more wolves in the bushes. There are probably even more hidden there. Rude uses echolocation and finds around 30 wolves in the brush. He tells Alicia where to strike. She follows his directions and blasts the wolves hiding in the bushes. Rude knows echolocation is less accurate in open areas, and Alicia can't hit too many spots perfectly at once. So, his plan is to attack from the sides and force the wolves into one group. Alicia does her part and leaves the rest to him. Rude sneaks closer to the monsters and uses paralyzing breath to freeze the wolves from behind. Only then do the two finally relax and catch their breath. In the end, they count 52 wolf corpses. Alicia says she's never seen that many wolves in one day and figures the pack had grown that large. Rude asks about the spirit magic she used. She explains that she borrows power from spirits found in nature. Spirits are everywhere, even if people can't see them, but using their power costs magic in return. Even so, spirit magic can create huge effects with little mana. Sylphide, for example, can even make them float. Rude admits he's never seen wind magic that strong. While he's talking about it, Sylphide tugs on his hair, showing how playful she is. Alicia says it'll be dark soon, so they should head back fast. She has Sylphide carry them home with wind magic. Flying is something Rude has never done, even with all his skills. He asks Alicia what other spirit magic she can use. She says she specializes in ice, water, light, and earth, while fire and darkness don't suit her. If a spirit and user don't match well, it takes a huge amount of magic, and the spirit still might refuse to help. Since Sylphide keeps playing with Rude, Alicia says the spirit must like him. Soon they spot smoke rising in the distance, and Alicia says there's supposed to be a village that way. That village is under attack by Baphomet, a demon spirit with many powers. Grey wolves normally live around there, so even the local adventurers are confused by what they're seeing. They have no idea what this monster is. The villagers can only stand there helplessly as the creature forms a spear with magic. Right before it hits the two villagers trying to guard the place, a water bullet knocks the spear aside. Alicia asks if they're okay, and once they confirm it, asks what happened. At the same time, Rude gets ready to fight and quickly appraises the monster. It's level 27 and packed with dangerous skills. Even though its level is below a general lizard, its stats are on a whole different level, and Rude can tell it's no normal 27. It also has several skills, including principles of fire magic and principles of earth magic, plus echolocation, increased mana recovery speed, and mental strength. Since Rude's fire magic is too weak to matter, he gets excited at the thought of beating Baphomet and eating it to take its skills. He soon learns the monster is strong physically, too, when it blocks his attack. He suspects steel claws may be the reason. With no better option, Rude answers with brute force, but Baphomet hits back by using principles of earth magic. He barely escapes its range. That's when he realizes how smart it is. The monster fired most of its flame spears, but held back 2 for defense. It's fighting carefully. Alicia says they should trade information while they still can. She tells him the villagers haven't been evacuated yet, and asks the men from earlier to guide them out, while she looks for a way to avoid collateral damage. Alicia also can't just wipe out Baphomet with one big spell. Rude figures she used up a lot of power flying here and running around earlier. So, he starts thinking they can't count on her spirit magic. But Alicia walks up and tells him to trust her. She'll handle the magic. Rude charges at Baphomet. Alicia backs him up from behind. Their spells keep canceling Baphomet's attacks, since they're opposite elements with equal force. Right after one attack gets cancelled, Baphomet uses principles of earth magic to strike at Rude again. Even then, Alicia keeps covering him. The monster fires pebbles with exact same weight and force. Even in danger, Alicia saves mana and avoids damaging the village. Rude is stunned by how exact her magic control is. It shows why a former S-rank adventurer is on another level. With Alicia supporting him, Rude decides to finish this fast. He boosts his body, then slices off a few of the monster's fingers. That sends Baphomet into a frenzy, and it tries to strike back, but Alicia finishes it with fire magic, blowing it apart from the inside. The villagers watch their homes burn, filled with shock, fear, and grief over what they've lost. Then they hear an explosion and a horrible scream. One adventurer wonders if the two from earlier actually beat it. Another says if he weren't hurt, he would have stayed to help. While everyone worries about Alicia and Rude, Alicia suddenly shows up, surprising them all. She tells them Baphomet has been defeated. She says she landed the killing blow, but just in case it survived, they're going after it so it doesn't come back. Then Alicia asks them for a favor. Ready to help their saviors however they can, the villagers ask what she needs. Alicia casually asks for food. Later, in the forest outside the village, Rude waits by a campfire. Alicia comes back and tells him everyone got out safely. Most of the credit goes to the adventurers there. She also told the villagers they were chasing Baphomet, so the missing corpse shouldn't raise suspicion. Rude apologizes for the trouble, then thanks her. His focus quickly shifts to the Baphomet soup, which smells and looks amazing. Before eating, he adds mugwort and ginger. His first thought is that Baphomet meat is decent. Even cooked well, it still has a goat-like smell, but aside from that, it tastes great. Now Rude has all the monster skills. Alicia is tempted by how good the food looks, though she's still uneasy watching Rude eat monster meat so casually. Rude admits she may have a point. It's a little scary how normal this feels now. Then some unwanted guests show up. They're level 22 monsters called stampigs with a skill named Flash Step that lets them move insanely fast in a straight line. Like normal pigs, they travel in small groups. Rude sees this as the perfect chance to test his new magic in battle and attacks them with it, only to find out it doesn't work right. One stampig uses Flash Step and closes the gap in an instant, even trampling Rude's food. Alicia says she's low on magic and can't help much. Rude, on the other hand, is furious. His meal is ruined. He spent forever draining the blood, skimming the scum, and fixing the flavor so he could enjoy it. Now he wants the stampigs to pay. At the very least, he expects to eat them instead. Alicia grabs his collar and tells him to calm down. She explains that Flash Step boosts the power of their charge, so even one hit can be brutal. Her answer is simple. They need to fight from farther away than Flash Step can reach. In other words, she wants a retreat. They manage to escape the stampigs by climbing a tree. Since the danger isn't gone, they stay there a while, and Alicia asks why his magic failed earlier. Rude is confused, too. This is the first time he hasn't been able to use skills he got from the taboo of eating monsters. Alicia tells him to inspect the skill with appraisal. The descriptions for principles of fire magic and earth magic say the user should instinctively know how to use them. Alicia first guesses his brain might not understand magic, but takes that back since he's at least decent with fire magic. So, she drops that idea. After thinking it over, Alicia finds another possible reason. Maybe he can't use monster skills because he doesn't know mana manipulation. She admits she doesn't know much about mana, so he'll have to test it himself. Rude agrees and starts trying to control it. He tells himself it's like when he ate the Minotaur before. He's trying to call out that same burst of power, and he succeeds almost right away. Once he can sense the mana, he can move it like part of his own body. He fires off the magic toward the stampigs, causing a huge explosion that probably kills them all. Rude gets his revenge. They ruined his meal, and now they are the meal. He apologizes to Alicia for taking so long. She says it's fine. This mattered. Then she explains what she noticed. To use those skills, he needs mana, not magic power. During that last attack, she saw his mana run out, which means he may be able to keep using them as long as he has. As Rude says the moment he felt mana flowing through him, he understood how to use the skills. That makes him wonder if mana can replace magic power. Maybe he can use it to strengthen his body or weapons too. A lot of adventurers train their magic power, and many use it in close combat. Flowing it through the body boosts physical ability, and putting it into a weapon makes it stronger, even enough to send out slashes. Alicia finally realizes his problem. Until now, he had too little magic power to use those skills. Rude has more mana than magic power, and even better, he realizes he can refill that mana by eating monsters. While they talk, he takes a bite and gains Stampig's flash step skill. Alicia realizes Rude can absorb mana from monsters and even store it in his body. Still, what matters most to her right now is how tasty those pork cutlets look. Seeing her stare, Rude asks if she wants to eat now. Suddenly, a loud crash startles them both. When the smoke clears, they find a giant stampig, the boss. Like the others, it has the same basic fighting style. It uses flash step to slam straight at Alicia. Rude reacts fast enough to save her. Alicia says she only sensed something far away, and then the boss was suddenly right in front of her. Even outside a labyrinth, a monster this dangerous somehow showed up here. Rude is furious all over again. After yelling like a maniac, he says this monster at least looks like it would make a great roast, but even while covered in fire, its body barely burns, revealing fire resistance. King Stampig is level 38. It only has flash step and fire resistance, but its real threat is its insane power and toughness. Rude uses principles of earth magic and copies a punch to hurt the monster a little, but the attack shatters when the beast slams into him like a bull. He doesn't even get the chance to use Steel Body. King Stampig then turns to the nearest target, Alicia. She barely avoids its deadly head, but with Sylphid's help. The boss isn't even using a skill here. Its thick hide and muscle are just that tough. Neither earth magic nor spirit wind magic can break through its skin. It charges Alicia again, but at the right moment, Rude uses Roar to pull its attention back. He tells it not to look away. The fight isn't over yet. At his current level, he still can't use Flash Step or Steel Body, and if this drags on, King Stampig might switch back to Alicia. He doesn't have a skill that can kill in one hit, but the monster only knows how to rush straight ahead. That gives Rude one last idea, a skill he's never tried before. First, he draws mana from inside his body and imagines pouring it into his sword. As the monster comes into range, Rude opens his eyes and swings with everything he has, splitting King Stampig clean in half. Alicia is stunned that he just used mana to strengthen his weapon without any training. Rude says he only tried because it felt like it should work. Besides, his mana was already leaking out. Then his blade suddenly shatters. Alicia figures the sword couldn't handle that much mana. She explains that a weapon is basically an extension of an adventurer's body. After that, they call it a day, and Rude takes all the meat. Meanwhile, on the 7th floor of the miasma labyrinth, the 3 adventurers who stole Rude's usual hunting spot are fighting a great miasma rat. After they win, they get even more full of themselves. As they laugh over the dead monster, one of them hears a low sound. He goes to check where it came from, and the others follow. They find stairs leading to a room below. One of them says he has a bad feeling, but they ignore it and keep going, thinking it might be a hidden path. At the bottom, they find a treasure chest. Even its placement feels suspicious, but they still want to open it and take whatever is inside. Inside is a powerful sword, and one of them says it gives off strong magic. Rigard, the careful one, warns that the power they feel could be a curse. The short, cocky adventurer tells him to quit ruining the moment. He says they need a find like this. Money has been tight, and with the miasma scavenger gone, they've had no easy way to earn. To him, this sword is heaven paying them back for all those late-night dives. After bringing up the miasma scavenger, Rigard mentions that Rude has been hanging around with a stunning elf woman. The other two laugh, mocking Rude for forgetting his place as they get ready to leave, but Rigard keeps staring at the chest. Back in the frontier city of Bologna, Rude and Alicia go shopping for a new weapon for him. They stop by Miner's Hammer, the forge run by Dome, an expert weaponsmith. Dome is shocked to see one of his own swords shattered like that. He says raw strength alone shouldn't have done this, and asks Rude what he put into the blade. Alicia quietly asks if he should really tell him, but Rude says yes. He's known Dome a long time and trusts him to keep quiet. So Rude tells him everything, eating monsters, getting abilities, and forcing mana into the sword. Alicia asks why Dome doesn't seem surprised. Dome shrugs and says, if it tastes fine to Rude, then what he eats is his business. He agrees to forge a sword that can handle mana-infused strikes, though it'll take time since he needs to figure out how to make it. When Rude asks what he needs, Dome says high-grade magic stones. Rude pulls out stones from the Minotaur, General Lizard, and Baphomet he defeated. Seeing them, Dome realizes just how much stronger Rude he has become. Rude blushes at the praise. Dome hands him a loner sword and warns him not to pour magic into this one. If he breaks it, too, Dome says he'll pay hard for it. After that, Rude and Alicia eat at Full Belly Restaurant, where Alicia suggests avoiding magic attacks for a while. She adds that she's happy she finally met one of Rude's friends, even if the visit was a lot. When Rude jokes about feeling bad for being a loner, the three adventurers walk up and ask to join them. Alicia asks if there's a problem, then boldly challenges them to a drinking contest. Rondo, the one carrying the sword from the miasma labyrinth, suddenly collapses onto Rude's table. The arrogant one stares at him, confused, and asks if he's drunk. Then he sees the sword glowing with a dark red aura. He had assumed Rondo sold it, so seeing it here shocks him. Rondo suddenly gets back up and attacks him, making the man's injury even worse. Taken over by the sword's curse, Rondo turns next to Alicia. Rude jumps in and blocks the strike with his borrowed sword. He has no idea what's happening to Rondo. The people eating nearby get furious at the mess he's causing. Several of them rush in and try to pin Rondo by the arms. Alicia prepares magic to stop him, but since it might blast through the wall, she apologizes to the manager first. Even after Alicia's heavy hit, Rondo stands back up. Rude asks if she held back. Alicia says no normal adventurer should still be moving after a spell like that. As Rondo charges them again, Rude rushes in to keep him from wrecking more of the place. Alicia asks the chef manager to heal the wounded if he knows healing magic. Using appraisal, Rude checks Rondo's status and sees madness where it should say normal. This isn't the Rondo he knows. His stats are much higher now. Alicia gathers another spell and tells Rude to move. This time she's not holding back, but the sword absorbs the attack. Alicia realizes the blade is cursed, and then things get even stranger. Rondo seems to grow stronger by feeding on magic. The sword symbiotic curse starts spreading through his arm. Rondo leaps at Rude, and though Rude blocks, the blow is far heavier than before. Rude spots an opening and cuts at his leg, but red-black tendrils quickly seal the wound. Alicia can't support him with magic, either, since the sword may just absorb it again. So, she decides to wait for one clean chance to finish it. Just as Alicia and Rude prepare to kill Rondo, Rigard comes through the broken wall and begs them not to kill his friend. He admits he treated Rude horribly, but says that for someone who never managed to succeed and only looked down on weaker people, Magnus and Rondo were all he had. He earnestly begs them to spare Rondo. Rude says he'll do what he can. He tells Alicia he's going to use Substitute and asks her to give him 1 minute. He remembers it took around 10 seconds to activate it on Alicia before. The real problem is keeping Rondo pinned down long enough to break the curse. Rondo attacks again, and Rude barely blocks it. Instead of striking back, he only pushes the cursed blade away so it can't absorb magic. Then he uses Earth magic principles to lock Rondo in place. Rude believes he can remove the curse the same way he helped Alicia, if this really is a curse. At the key moment, he activates Substitute. For an instant, Rondo regains his mind. He begs Rude to save him, but Rude still can't drive the curse out of his body. When Substitute ends, he's knocked back. Rude realizes it wasn't Rondo rejecting the skill. It was probably the sword. He figures he might still win if he weakens the curse first, so he uses fire magic to burn it down a bit, only to see Rondo break free of the restraints. Still, the curse is gone from his left arm, so Rude decides to fight from outside the reach of the right one. That won't be easy, though, because possessed Rondo is moving insanely well. Worse than that, he absorbed Rude's magic. The situation is getting far uglier than expected. Then the two-headed curse Graham fully takes over. Rondo's body isn't really his anymore, meaning he can no longer be saved. Rude checks it with appraisal, but all he gets is the condition, nothing else. Now at full strength, the creature resumes the fight. Half-possessed Rondo was already fast, but this form is several times quicker and more agile. Rude can't keep up with the attacks, and he notices the curse fights with no wasted movement, like a veteran warrior. Without warning, it vaults over Rude, but Alicia steps in and fires the spell she'd been charging. Even though she's usually a backline fighter, she follows up with a direct kick, and then another spell that blasts it away. Rude thanks her, surprised she can fight up close too. Alicia says a mage who becomes useless once an enemy closes in is only a burden. Since this enemy can't be taken lightly, she tells Rude to face reality. The only way to stop Rondo now is to destroy his heart. Rude accepts that and gets back up to end the curse. Nearby, Rigard and Magnus panic when they hear Alicia say, Rondo's heart has to be destroyed. Even with the odds against it, the fight still favors the curse. The two of them can't find a real opening, and Rude wonders if having two heads gives it a wider view. He decides to test that and tells Alicia to fall back for a second. Rude fills the area with smoke. Alicia immediately sees the point. The curse can't absorb that. Using the cover, Rude slips in and lands a shallow cut. Then Alicia calls on Earth Spirit magic and summons Nomia. The strike pierces the curse, but only barely misses the heart. It tries to counterattack, but Rigard and Magnus jump in to hold it back. Rigard yells that he'll stop him, even if it means accepting Rondel's death. He says their party has always been the three of them. In a final desperate move, Magnus drives a blow through Rondel's heart. In the end, it was Magnus, Rondel's close friend, who released him from the curse. The three of them mourn their friend who couldn't be saved. Rude picks up the cursed sword and wonders what to do with it. Hiding it isn't an option. Someone else could find it tomorrow. There's an ice set just above the handle. When the sword gives off killing intent, it screams kill. Rude tells it to shut up, since that kind of thing doesn't work on him. Just then, Bellona Branch Guild Master Lankers arrives to inspect the scene. He sees Rondel's body and the sword in Rude's hand. He asks for a full explanation and says they should continue at the guild. After hearing about the curse and why Rondel had to die to stop it, Lankers says other adventurers should accept Magnus' testimony. Then Lankers asks if Rudy feels anything while holding the cursed sword. Rude says curses don't affect him because his abnormal status immunity is special. As long as he keeps it, no one else will become a victim. Lankers accepts that, but gives one condition. If the sword ever takes over Rude, they'll stop him no matter what. Rude agrees right away. Lankers thanks Rude and Alicia for keeping the whole incident under control. He also offers his condolences to Magnus and Rigard. Then he says, there's no time to rest. Monsters outside the labyrinth have been rising at a strange rate, and the adventurers behind him were called in because of it. The monsters are coming from the newly discovered abyssal labyrinth, and the survey team reported something serious inside. A certain monster in that labyrinth seems to be causing this whole disaster. That monster is the miasma dragon, Basilista. Its level is estimated to be 70 or higher. Its strength alone is dangerous, but the real problem is the thick miasma it spreads. They believe Basilista's miasma drives other monsters wild, forcing more of them out of the dungeon. Because of that, the survey team already took losses and the survivors are being treated. Lankers warns that if this keeps up, it won't stop with monsters. The miasma will leak outside and devastate the region. That's why he came to find Rudy. Rude says he understands, but first, he wants to meet the surviving survey members. Lankers brings Rude and Alicia to the medical ward. There, Rudy uses substitute skill to treat one of the wounded scouts. He even pulls Lankers' condition into himself with that unique ability. Lankers is shocked. He had no idea Rude could cancel abnormal conditions. Rude explains it only works if the person accepts his treatment. After seeing the survey team state, he tells Lankers only he and Alicia should go after the miasma dragon. He says fewer people means fewer allies to protect, making it easier to move in the labyrinth. Besides, he wants to test himself against strong enemies. Lankers agrees and leaves the subjugation of Basilista to him. Since it's already late, they decide to rest and prepare for tomorrow. On the way back, Alicia asks if just of them will really be enough. Rude says he can fight without holding back when no one else is around. Then he apologizes for dragging her into this. Alicia mocks him for saying something so stupid. If he tried to go alone, she says she would have beaten him up. They're a team, and the two of them are enough to save everyone. Before long, Rude and Alicia reach the lower levels of the abyssal labyrinth. The first enemies they face are level 20 bobgoblins with physical boost and club mastery. They've clearly been affected by the miasma, but to Rude, they're still just goblins. He splits one in half with a single swing. He wasn't told the floor they were on had already been touched by the miasma. Alicia says that proves how fast it's spreading. Even her purification tools can't clear it well. Rude figures the monsters on the next floor may not even be alive anymore. To be sure, he asks Alicia if she still wants to keep going. She says yes. His usual attributes may not work on the dragon, but she's sure she can still land solid hits, even up close. She also refuses to leave because once before, she had to abandon her friends, and that left deep scars. Rude apologizes to Alicia for bringing up something painful. Then he uses substitute skill to draw out the miasma building inside Alicia. He explains that whenever they touch, he can remove its effects, but once he lets go, the miasma will slowly build up again. Alicia says that settles it. They should just hold hands and move forward like that. She adds that the heavy miasma makes it hard to see her feet, so he'll be guiding her too. Their target is only 5 floors below, so they continue deeper. Soon they reach the middle layers of abyssal, where the miasma grows thicker with every step. Using echolocation, Rude finds 2 monsters ahead. Alicia guesses anything surviving in this much miasma must be strong, and Rude says they're creatures he's never seen before. Even though there's another route, Rude wants to fight them. Alicia asks why. Does he want to eat these ones too? A little offended, he says it's mostly curiosity. He also wants to test the cursed sword, Graham, before facing the miasma dragon. The enemies are rolling beetles, level 33, with several useful skills. They have steel body, revolution, poison resistance, miasma resistance, and paralysis resistance. No wonder the miasma barely affects them. When the fight begins, Rudy uses principles of earth magic and destroys the ground beneath the rolling beetles, but it doesn't work. One beetle curls up and starts rolling forward, aiming straight at them. Rude calls on Alicia to stop it. She summons Nomiya and orders her to block the rolling beetle. Alicia manages to hold it back, but only for a moment, so she tells Rude to hurry. Rude steps up as the party shield again and draws the cursed sword. He warns it not to break on him and strikes, trying to end the monster in one shot. The blade is so sharp it slices through even the stone barrier Nomiya made, but the beetle survives. Its scales are so tough that even the cursed sword doesn't cut deep enough. Rude decides the sword needs more power, so he asks Alicia to charge it with magic. Once an S-rank adventurer pours magic into the blade, it shows its real power and destroys the beetle in seconds. Seeing its partner die, the second beetle starts shaking in fear. Rude ends that one, too, with a single strike. He praises Alicia's perfect control over her magic, and while they enjoy the win, he takes her hand again and uses substitute skill to pull away the miasma. Then he asks for a little more time. Absorbing magic through the sword didn't restore his mana, so now he wants to eat the monsters. He cooks the rolling beetles and starts eating. While he does, Alicia asks how the cursed sword felt to use. Rude says that after it absorbs enough magic, his physical power rises a lot. Alicia figures that if he keeps feeding it mana, it won't shatter like his old sword. He then wonders how well it'll work against the miasma dragon, which witnesses say is as large as a tree. Still, he admits his old sword had more weight behind each strike. Then the cursed sword suddenly starts asking for something. Confused, Rude asks if it wants meat. The sword clearly answers it wants a magic stone. Rude pulls one from his bag and mixes in some of his blood before handing it over. The sword devours the magic stone and quickly grows much bigger, shocking both of them. Alicia asks how he knew what it wanted, and Rudy says the sword spoke directly into his mind. He guesses it got mad because he called it weak. Rudy tells Alicia he mostly understands how to use the cursed sword now. They've made good progress and are only 1 floor above where Basilista was last seen. Then just as they mention it, they hear the dragon roar. The sound is so overwhelming that the ceiling starts to give way. Rude says they should support it with earth magic, but Alicia rejects that idea. If they focus on protecting themselves, the stairs could get buried, and they'd lose their chance to reach the dragon. So with no better option, she decides to break through the collapsing floors and force their way down to Basilista's level. After a brutal drop, they make it through alive. They try to get their bearings, but the darkness is too thick. Rude uses thermal search and finds the source of the mist. It's the miasma dragon, Basilista. They were told it was level 70, but it's actually level 75. It has every major attribute, low agility for its class, and vitality over 500, along with a long list of rare and dangerous skills. Rude also notices its fangs and claws are poisoned. Worse, the dragon has already spotted them. That alone puts them both on edge. Alicia asks what magic it resists, and Rude says fire, earth, lightning, and darkness won't work, so she switches to other attributes. The miasma dragon roars again, but this time they're ready. Rude had wanted to stay back and study its attacks first, but the fight moves too fast, and he doesn't know how long Alicia can endure this dense miasma. so he decides to finish it as fast as possible. Like a true dragon, Basilista breathes fire and nearly hits Rude, but he escapes with flash step. The blast is strong enough to melt the ground and nearby stone. From the rear, Alicia calls Sylphide, who uses wind magic to launch Rude toward the dragon. Moving almost at sonic speed, Rude manages to scratch its hide, but the blade still can't pierce through the dragon's thick skin. He realizes his sword and magic just aren't a good match for it. Even Alicia's spirit magic does nothing. The dragon comes out without a scratch. As they think of their next move, the dragon flicks its tail and fires quills at them. Rude blocks with steel body, and Alicia stops hers with spirit magic. They start wondering how to beat this thing. Its defense is insane, and it can attack from far away, too. Alicia tells Rude to buy her time. She's about to use her trump card. While she gets it ready, Rude uses earth magic and keeps fighting up close, trying to do as much damage as he can. He attacks the dragon while also covering Alicia. She's left herself wide open and is trusting him completely. To make up for his part, she pours all her mana into this one move. She calls out all her elementals, Salam, Erdal, Nomia, and Wakian, and keeps building her attack. At the same time, Rude goes all out, striking the dragon and rushing back to guard her. Soon Alicia says she's ready and tells him to get clear. Then she fires her special move, Spirit's Quintet, lighting up the whole room. When the haze clears, the dragon is still on its feet, even with all the damage it took. She couldn't finish it, and says that at full power, one shot would have done it. Rude praises Spirit's Quintet, then says it's his turn. Alicia spent all her mana on that attack, so she can't support him now. He tells her not to worry. Just use what little she has left to protect herself. He will handle the dragon from here. To show how terrifying it is, the dragon roars and shakes the whole dungeon. Rude answers with the roar skill he got from the Minotaur, making it clear he's not some weak human. Earlier, he had absorbed the dark magic shielding Alicia, and it was packed with mana. Right now, Rude is overflowing with power. Full of confidence, he charges in and slashes through the scales on its arm. But even with his unbelievable speed and agility, he notices his sword is working less and less. The managram absorbed is slowly fading. Just as Rude starts to slow down, the dragon hits him with a miasma wave. He can resist miasma, but the force of the wave still knocks him back. Then the dragon whips its tail and launches quills at Rude. After reading their path, he knows he can dodge the spikes, but not the dragon's next attack. Even with almost no chance to live, he uses Flash Step to escape its range. It's not enough. The dragon still reaches him with a claw strike, though Rude activates Steel Body right before it lands. Even so, the blow sends him flying into the far end of the room. He even judged the distance of his Flash Step right, but the dragon still overpowered him. In that desperate moment, Rude remembers fighting the Minotaur the time he almost died. But he's not the same as he was then. This time, he refuses to give up and gets moving again. As the dragon prepares its breath attack, Rude decides to stop dodging. If this drags into a long fight, he knows he'll lose. He activates thread manipulation and uses the threads like a slingshot. Then he launches himself straight at the dragon. The miasma dragon answers with a blast of fire. Rude can't stop heat of its breath, but he can absorb the mana inside it. He bets that if his fire resistance can keep him alive, he can boost his weapon with his own mana, add the managram he stored, and release it all in one strike. The dragon's breath starts burning his skin. At the last second, Alicia uses the little magic she has left and throws water on Rude to shield him from the heat. The moment he gets an opening, he takes it. Rude's final move is a single slash meant to split the enemy in half, and this time it works. Rude is barely still standing. He can only just speak to Alicia. When she tries to heal him, he tells her not to push herself anymore. He explains that he has a skill called Bloodlust that can restore him a little. He got it from the hidden labyrinth. After recovering some strength, he and Alicia lie down for a short rest. They're both amazed and happy that they actually beat the miasma dragon. Alicia says this is only the beginning. They still have more adventure ahead. Hearing an S-rank talk about going on adventures with him reminds Rude of the adventurer who saved him as a child. That hero was powerful, far stronger than he is now. As usual, Rude eats some monster meat, and then they decide to head for the deepest part of the dungeon. On the lowest floor, they find the labyrinth's core. Alicia says only a few adventurers ever get to see one. She also explains that the magic circle in front of it can send them straight back to the entrance. Looking at the glowing core, Alicia says it's normal to leave it intact even after clearing the dungeon. That way, he could come back for materials he can't get outside and leave whenever he wants. But Rude doesn't want the dragon to revive, and as long as the core exists, that can happen. He went through hell in the Abilio labyrinth, but because of it, a path to his dream finally opened. so he destroys the core. Back in Bologna, Guild Master Lankers asks for news on Rude and Alicia. He's told there's still no report of their return. Deep down, Lankers knows Rude is infamous as the miasma scavenger. Among adventurers, strength is everything. Even if Lankers had stepped in, it likely wouldn't have changed anything. And if that was enough to make Rude give up on his dream, then maybe that was simply his path. While Lankers is thinking it over, he suddenly gets word that Rude and Alicia have returned through a teleport circle. The report says they defeated the miasma dragon and destroyed the dungeon core. Rude and Alicia really did it. Lankers is shocked, but even more than that, he's happy. He never expected the so-called miasma scavenger to be the one who saved the city. The guild welcomes the two heroes who saved Bologna from a level 75 threat. In Golar, a city near Bologna, the local lord is furious that Bologna destroyed the labyrinth. He wanted to take it for himself, and now that's impossible. But his second-in-command says this may actually help them. Since Bologna couldn't deny Golar's claim to the labyrinth, they chose to destroy it instead of hand it over. Because of that, he believes they can pressure the Bologna guild and demand compensation. The lord likes that idea, too. It sounds more profitable than challenging the labyrinth themselves and losing adventurers in the process. Still, he's sure the Bologna guild won't accept that quietly. The advisor says he wants to show the guild master who's superior. Elsewhere, Rude and Alicia are out in the wild, and Rude is cooking his usual monster meal, this time with rare miasma dragon meat. He had stored some in his bag, and now he's thrilled to finally taste something this rare. One bite in, Rude loses it. He says every meat he's ever eaten is nothing compared to this. It's rich, sweet, and the fat melts in your mouth. While he keeps praising the flavor, Alicia starts drooling again. She jumps up and declares that tonight they're getting premium steak, and she wants Rude's help finding the best place to eat. Rude says he's still eating and can't help right now. Alicia fires back that they need restaurant info fast, so he should hurry up and finish. For days pass after the Abilio labyrinth collapses. Guild Master Lankers calls them in to finish the report. Once that's done, Lankers gives them their reward, 1.5 million Reagan. Rude is stunned by the amount. Lankers explains that Abilio was a level 70 labyrinth, so a reward that big is fair and earned. After giving him the money, he tells Rude his rank will be updated. The two of them clear the labyrinth alone, even though Rude had only recently reached D rank. So he's shocked that his rank is already being reviewed again. After all, he's already level 52. Alicia says that even if he's been fighting monsters above his level, his growth speed is still abnormal. Normally, once an adventurer hits level 40, leveling slows way down. She notices him grinning. Before she can ask why, Rude smugly reveals that he's finally passed her level. She opens her status window. She's level 45. Rude says that even if his level is higher, she's still stronger in a real fight. She agrees. Levels are only a guide. Real combat power comes from skill and experience. As they talk about levels, they see the Lord of Golar walk into the guild. He recognizes Rude as the miasma scavenger right away. Already convinced Rude is rude and disrespectful, the boy asks who he is. The Lord mocks the adventurers of Bologna for not even knowing the face of a neighboring ruler. Rude seems to have heard of the miserable Lord of Golar. After that indirect introduction, the Lord starts nagging Rude for destroying the labyrinth. Rude answers that last he heard, the Abilio labyrinth was jointly owned. The Lord says the Abilio labyrinth sat between Golar and Bologna, but Bologna cut Golar out of it. They claim something strange was happening inside. Then monsters started pouring out and the labyrinth was destroyed. He demands to know how Rude plans to repay Golar for the money they lost and the damage those monsters caused nearby. Alicia cuts in and says issues like that should be handled by the guilds, not argued here. She adds that there were no reports of monsters overrunning Golar and Bologna's adventurers already dealt with the problem. Then she asks why people who did nothing think they have the right to complain. Rude isn't surprised by how sharp Alicia sounds. She's an experienced S-rank adventurer. Golar's guild master, the Lord's second-in-command, recognizes her as Alicia of the Emerald Stone. He says he heard she was tied to Bologna, and now he knows it's true. Then he cruelly adds that since the abyssal labyrinth's curse should have destroyed her, Bologna suits someone like her. Rude vaguely remembers that this man is Golar's guild master. The guild master says adventurers shouldn't be speaking on this matter, anyway. He steps up to Alicia and leans in close. In a whisper, he calls her a useless survivor from a party that died for nothing and tells her to stay out of it. He ends it by calling her trash. That sets Alicia off. She releases her magic, and the whole room grows heavy. Even Golar's guild master is shaken by the pressure from an adventurer he thought was washed up at level 45. Lankers he steps in before it goes any further. He says there will be no fighting in his guild and orders the Lord and the guild master to come with him. Even as they leave, Golar's guild master keeps throwing insults at Alicia. Once they head toward the guild master's office, another man calls Alicia's name, an elf with a striking face. He asks if she remembers him. Rude is already tired of troublesome people, but Alicia calls the elf Ebert, so they clearly know each other. When Rude asks, she explains Ebert was in one of her old parties. Ebert says he once looked up to Azure Trails, especially Alicia, because as a fellow elf, he admired her ability to use several elementals at once. He also knows about her curse and how badly it made her suffer. He came to Bologna for one reason, to ask her to join his party. Alicia turns him down, saying she's already in a new party. She tries to introduce Rude, and when Rude offers a handshake, Ebert smacks his hand away, making it clear he wants nothing to do with him. He ignores Rude and keeps talking to Alicia, saying he feels sorry for her. An S rank like her ended up with someone called the miasma scavenger, and he says her talent would be far more useful in his party. That clearly annoys her. She steps back and tells him not to talk about things he doesn't understand. She chose to team up with Rude herself, so insulting him is the same as insulting her. Even so, she still thanks him for worrying about her. She also reveals that her curse is gone. Ebert can't believe it. The curse came from the SS rank Abyssal Labyrinth, from a boss on the top floor. Alicia hints that she met someone special, leaving Ebert deep in thought. Then she adds that Rude's rank is being reviewed, so he won't stay some normal C or D rank adventurer. Watching her care so much about Rude, Ebert decides Rude must be manipulating her. He doesn't even believe Rude killed the miasma dragon. Though if Alicia's curse is really gone, that changes things. So he assumes Alicia did it all herself, and Rude is taking credit for her work. As they leave, Rude tells Alicia Ebert keeps staring at him like crazy. She explains that elves are proud, and many grow even more biased the longer they live. Rude asks if she's like that too. Alicia proudly says she's a humble, kind, pure-hearted, charming elf, which only makes her sound just as proud as Ebert. After that, they go pick up Rude's new rank papers. The receptionist tells him he skipped C rank entirely and is now officially B rank. His level growth shows just how hard the Abilio Labyrinth mission really was. She also says the guild got reports from the villagers they rescued, so Rude's defeat of Baphomet was counted, too. Rigard and Magnus congratulate him on reaching B rank and say the whole town is thankful. Seeing how happy and satisfied he looks, Alicia tells him not to stop at B rank. He should aim for S rank. The two of them cheer each other on and set their sights on S rank. But Ebert ruins the moment again. He says something this foolish should never be allowed. Dungeon information is limited by rank to protect adventurers, yet someone who only followed others and did nothing got promoted to B rank. Then he goes too far and says the Bologna Guild is full of idiots. The receptionist answers that the guild can award promotions at its own judgment. Magnus tells Ebert to take those words back if he doesn't want trouble. Instead of apologizing, Ebert just repeats himself. Furious, Magnus grabs his collar, but before he can do anything, Ebert throws him aside. Then he pins Magnus down with his sword and tells him not to touch him with filthy hands. Alicia tells Ebert to stop making problems. He assumes she's only being kind to a homeless man like Magnus. Ebert admits he's stubborn once he makes up his mind, but he still has a warped view of himself. He says he's a humble, understanding, charming elf and believes he's the only one fit to guide Alicia. Rude laughs when he hears Ebert use the exact same words Alicia used. At this point, he's convinced elves are just naturally full of pride. Then Ebert suddenly challenges Rude, calling him a useless adventurer who puts others at risk. He wants to test whether Rude deserves B rank. Alicia agrees at once and tells Ebert he'll see Rude's strength for himself. So, the proud elf and the miasma scavenger head to Bologna Guild's training grounds. Alicia apologizes for dragging Rude into this. Rude says it isn't her fault. Things only got this far because he's still lacking. All he has to do now is beat Ebert and prove he deserves to stand beside her. In the end, adventurers settle arguments with strength. Before the match begins, Alicia declares that if either fighter is badly hurt, she'll stop it herself. The moment it starts, Ebert rushes Rude with shocking speed and power. Rude didn't expect such a fierce opening, but he still blocks it. Ebert keeps pressing with polished sword skill, giving Rude no time to breathe. Rude quickly realizes Ebert is the better swordsman. He also remembers Alicia saying Ebert fights with both attack magic and enhancement magic, making him a magic swordsman who boosts his speed and body. Then Ebert suddenly vanishes and appears behind Rude, landing a surprise slash. Rude can't track him with his eyes and takes the hit. Ebert reveals he's B rank, too, saying only people with this kind of power deserve that title. After showing off his strength, he declares Rude isn't worthy of B rank or of staying by Alicia's side. Rude admits he's not worthy yet, but Alicia chose him, not the other way around. Then he says he'll prove why he belongs with her. This time, Rude attacks first using earth magic. Ebert mocks him for trying to beat a magic specialist with magic. He answers with fire magic, setting off an explosion. Right after that, the elf launches another special spell, but Graham absorbs the magic from both attacks, and Rude says he expected Ebert to compete with magic. Elves are a proud race, after all. With his blade recharged by mana, Rude takes the offensive and gains a huge boost in speed and strength. When Ebert calls it a magic sword, Rude corrects him. It isn't magic, it's cursed. Rude's blade grazes Ebert, but instead of backing off, Ebert calls him a freak for carrying a cursed sword, giving him one more reason to hate him. And he uses a lightning enchantment sword technique and moves so fast Rude can't follow. After that, Ebert uses lightning palm and sends electricity through Rude's whole body. Thinking those back-to-back lightning attacks finished him, he tells Alicia to announce the winner. But what he least expects happens. Rude grabs him by the collar and says, lightning doesn't work on him. He absorbed paralysis resistance just in time. Stunned, Ebert says that much lightning should have paralyzed him. Rude answers without words. He headbutts the arrogant elf. Then he wins by pinning Ebert down the same way Magnus was and slams the sword into the ground right beside Ebert's head. Back at the Bologna Guild, the guild master meets with Golar's lord and guild master about Abilio Labyrinth destruction. Lankars explains the feudal lord is away on official business in the capital, so he's acting in his place. Lankars says he understands Golar's position. Since Bologna managed the labyrinth, they plan to fully help with the recovery. But the lord says Golar doesn't want help. They want proper compensation for the labyrinth they owned. He adds that Bologna got greedy and took more than their share, so now they need to pay for it. Then a female staff member rushes in with urgent news about Abilio Labyrinth, which was supposed to be completely collapsed. She reports that the area around it is now covered in an enormous amount of mana, measured to be rank. 2 gargoyles are also guarding the entrance and blocking anyone from getting close. Lankar says this is no time for Golar's petty arguing. He announces he'll form a subjugation team and head to the new Abilio Labyrinth at once, ordering every adventurer be rank or higher to be called in. That includes Rude. Once everyone gathers in Lankar's office, he tells them a labyrinth cycle has started. They were called here to stop it as fast as possible. Hearing that, Rude asks Alicia what a labyrinth cycle is. She says it's a rare event where a labyrinth evolves, and she's only heard of it a few times. So this will be Alicia's first time entering an evolving labyrinth too. Still, she's worried about the B-rank mana around the place. Rude thinks they'll be fine. His B-rank and ranks are coming too. Ebert overhears them and walks over, warning Rude not to take this lightly. He says if the mana outside is B-rank, then inside it's at least A rank, and in the worst case, it could reach S rank. Alicia adds that in reports, the labyrinth's growth is compared to a chrysalis. If that chrysalis opens, mana will flood the surface. Since Golar and Bologna are both in range, the damage could be catastrophic. Lankars tries to reassure Rude, saying labyrinth cycles are extremely rare and there are still many things no one understands. He tells him not to get lost in pointless worries. Since Rude was the one who cleared the dungeon before, Lankars says he'll be relying on him. Later, the selected adventurers arrive at the labyrinth. Just as the guild worker said, gargoyles are standing guard outside. Rude appraises them and learns they're level 50 monsters focused on endurance with several skills he already knows. That confirms they're even stronger than rolling beetles. Then one of the gargoyles looks straight at Rude, even though he thought they were too far away to react. A second later, both monsters charge the group. They open with petrifying breath, but Sylphie wipes the attack away. Even so, one slips past the front line and goes for Alicia. Lankars saves her just in time, while the other gargoyle gets split in half by Golar's guildmaster. The 2 guild masters tell everyone to stay close and follow them. Rude is tempted to inspect the gargoyle, even wants to eat it, but gives up when he learns it can regenerate. When he tries to burn the body to stop that regeneration, Golar's guild master questions what he's doing. The group pushes deeper into Abilio Labyrinth. A few days ago, it was packed with miasma, but now the density is lower, showing the labyrinth's nature has changed. Rude notes that the layout still looks mostly the same. Alicia says that doesn't mean they're safe. Once they reach deeper layers, anything could happen. And even if the layout stays the same, the monsters will definitely get stronger. Before long, a pack of ugly monsters attacks them. Lankars picks the biggest one, the boss, and tells the others to handle the smaller enemies. Golar's guild master then uses his special skill, Warrior's Honor, boosting the physical attack of the adventurers around him. As the fight begins, the adventurers quickly take control. Rude, though, notices Warrior's Honor didn't affect him. His abnormal status nullification canceled the buff. Lankar's focuses on the boss monster, fighting like a perfect tank while still landing hits whenever he can. The fight ends fast. He crushes the boss with raw power. Everyone is performing well, except Rude, who's stuck in shock after realizing his nullification skill also blocks support magic. Whenever one adventurer falls behind, the others step in and cover for them. One of them says these monsters are hard to read and their weakness isn't obvious, so the team agrees to just overwhelm them with force. They keep fighting, each person showing off the skills they're best at. The monsters are tough, but the party's teamwork wins out. Right after the small enemies go down, another monster attacks, bursting up from underground. It looks like some twisted mix of a beetle and a centipede. Again, the team works together and brings it down. Rude isn't just watching good teamwork. He's frustrated because everyone else is crushing monsters as well he does nothing. Then he notices burrowing parasites inside the corpses of those ugly monsters. For the first time in a while, he feels useful. Using earth magic principles, he attacks the parasites directly, but his spikes get cancelled out. The parasites have earth removal, a skill that neutralizes rock and soil. When Rude fails, the guild master finishes the monster by cutting off its head. After the fight ends, Golar's guild master points out Rude's mistake, using earth magic on something that came from underground, and calls it foolish. He also noticed Rude canceled Warrior's honor. Rude knows the truth better than anyone. He has no real experience fighting in a big group, and unlike the others, he can't even use support magic. To him, he's just extra baggage. As if that wasn't enough, Ebert also mocks him for failing to keep up. He says teamwork against a strong enemy is basic adventure knowledge. Then, an explosion cuts them off. When they turn, they see Lankar's fighting a giant monster being controlled by parasites. He realizes the corpse is being parasitized, and right after the transfer, the monster's wounds regenerate and its power jumps sharply. Golar's guild master underestimates it until he's bitten by a bug that causes petrification. In moments, everyone turns to stone, but even petrified, the adventurers can still see and think. Lankar's, most of all, forced to watch his own death coming. Rude saves him by using thread manipulation to yank him back. His abnormal status nullification protected him from petrification, and he wasn't the only one spared. He also saved Alicia by using substitute on her. The enemy is called Chaos Mouse, and most of its stats are poured into health and strength. Its biggest threats are close combat and regeneration. Rude also notices it doesn't seem to resist magic. So before rushing in, he asks Alicia to break its stance with magic. She gets ready at once. She calls out Nomia and Sylphide, and the spirits unleash their attacks, knocking Chaos Mouse back. Then the monster transforms, growing a mouth where no mouth should be. That tells Rude it can change forms no matter what stance it's in. Chaos Mouse,